Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to discuss the next answer copy of our Aim for Agriculture series. So as you all know that we are having Aim for Agriculture series in which we are having daily answer writing practice and weekly full tests. So today we are going to discuss the full test, that is full test number 10. We have already discussed the full test till number 9, and we have already discussed the daily answer writing practice of till answer, or you can say till day 50. So we will see what were the questions asked in full test 10 and how the student has approached the answers. And you can analyze the answers as well. You can pause the video at different intervals and read the answers, as I will be only discussing the important points. So you can simply pause and read the answers whenever you want to. And through analyzing the answers, you can improve your answer writing. Okay, you can see various things about answer writing through which you can improve your own answer writing. So let's start. So the first question is, explain the mechanisms which promote cross pollination. So what are the mechanisms which will promote cross pollination? So we all know what cross pollination is, that is allogamy, where is pollen from one flower is transferred to the stigma of different plant of the same species. Okay, here we are transferring the pollens from one plant to different plants. Now what are its mechanism which are promoting cross pollination? So these mechanisms can be dichogamy, where different types of dichogamy have been discussed, such as protandry, protogyny, that is different types of shapes of flowers. Okay, when each the stigma becomes receptive when the pollen grains are released. So all these things are mentioned in these points. You can simply pause and read it. Second thing that can do is self-incompatibility. We all know in self-incompatibility, the functional pollen grains of a plant is not produced. So different pollen grains from different plants come to pollinate one's flower. Then there is hercogamy. Okay, then we have heterostyly, that is different lengths of style. Okay, that style could be of small length, medium length, big length, as compared to anthers, which could be making the problem in self pollination, and that leads to cross pollination. For example, of primose and lanthanum have been mentioned. Monoicy. So these are the some of the dioicy. So monoicy is there, dioicy is there, examples have been mentioned. So you can simply pause and read these points if you want to, and most of the important points have been mentioned. So a very well written answer. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, describe the advantages and disadvantages of mass selection and clonal selection. So first we will see the advantages of mass selection. You can simply pause and read the definition of mass selections. Here we can produce large number of desirable plants, because as the name suggests, mass, that is we are producing large number of plants in a high mass, that is in large numbers. What is its advantage? It is simple and inexpensive. The population is able to retain genetic viability, okay, variability. Effective in improving quantitative traits. It is effective in improving quantitative traits. It can adapt to local conditions well, because genetic variability is enhanced. So this helps in adapting to local conditions. Now what are its disadvantages? So the major disadvantage is that there is slow genetic improvement, there is less control over genotypes, there are limited use for traits with low heritability. Here is we have low heritability, we have here. There is risk of genetic drift. So all the points have been nicely mentioned. Now let's move to clonal selection. What are its advantages? So there is genetic uniformity, there is fixation of desirable traits onto next generation, there is faster multiplication of superior varieties, useful for crops that don't breed by seed. Don't breed by seed. What are its disadvantages? There is lack of genetic diversity. There, for example, have been mentioned such as of Cavendish bananas. Then there is limited improvement in traits, transmission of diseases to all cloned plants. So disease can be transmitted to one plant to another, while breeding through this technique to it acts as a disadvantage, expensive and labor intensive. Two well-written points have been mentioned. You can simply pause and read. Now let's move to the next point. Next question. The next question is, sorry. The next question is, what is principle of independent assortment in inheritance of genes? Describe the experiment by Describe the experiment used by Mendel. So what is the principle of independent assortment in inheritance of genes? So we all know we have to describe here the Mendel's experiment of independent assortment and what independent assortment is. So independent assortment is in that genes of different traits are inherited independently of each other. That is, different genes are inheriting, but they are not dependent on each other. Okay, all the genes will be inherited differently and separately. Examples have been mentioned. Now Mendel's experiment have been mentioned. So we all know that Mendel's experiment of independent assortment, the steps have been mentioned. You can simply pause and read. And this is important that the structure have been mentioned. Here the phenotypic ratio have been mentioned. If you want to, you can also write genotypic ratio. So when you can answer, you all know what independent assortment is. This is phenotypic ratio 9 ratio 3 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. So now let's move to the next question. The next question is, intellectual property rights issue is a sensitive topic in agriculture. Concisely describe this with your conclusion. Okay, your conclusions. So we have to give our conclusions how intellectual property rights are sensitive topic in agriculture. So, what are the issues? First, we have to discuss, and the student has discussed it. That is seed patents by companies. Many times, what happens? A company is not the sole right producer of the seed, but it is patenting by its name because the producer is not able to properly patent it, or it is or the producer is unaware for the patents. Many times, local communities produce different kind of seeds, but they are patented by some name of foreign company. That things. Okay, there are problems of farmers' right by breed versus breeder rights. Traditional knowledge production is another problem, which I've discussed that many times traditional knowledge is patented by some foreign companies. So you can simply pause and read it. Biopiracy is another problem, that is exploitation of native plants by corporations without compensating the indigenous communities which are really involved in its development. So there is need for fair compensation. We need to protect the traditional knowledge. These are the things which we need to do. So fairly written answer. You can simply pause and read it. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, discuss the genetic basis of heterosis and inbreeding depression. So part 2 is heterosis. You all know that heterosis is also known as hybrid vigor. So here hybrid offsprings exhibit superior qualities compared to their parents. So its bases have been mentioned, that is over dominance hypothesis have been mentioned, dominance hypothesis have been mentioned. You can simply pause and read it if you want to. Epistasis have been mentioned. So well written point. Sorry. Yes. Epistasis have been mentioned. Then about inbreeding depression, we have mentioned the loss of heterozygosity. We have mentioned expression of deleterious recessive allele. The student has mentioned inbreeding coefficient. So very well written answer. You can simply pause and read the points if you want to. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, differentiate between linkage and crossing over. Did Mendel recognize the phenomenon of linkage? We have to explain that. So linkage and crossing over have been mentioned. To linkage occurs during the formation of gametes without any physical exchange of DNA. But in crossing over, there is exchange of segments. Okay, they exchange the DNA segments. Result have been mentioned. Examples have been mentioned. So you can simply pause and read it. Frequency have been mentioned, and about Mendel and its linkage have been also mentioned, that Mendel did not explicitly recognize the phenomenon of linkage, as his experiments focused on discrete traits that were inherently independent. Okay, so linkage have been not properly discussed by Mendel, and we all know that whenever we write the shortcomings of Mendel, we also always write there that linkage is not properly discussed. But it could be more elaborated as a 20 marker question. It is just written into 3 points, so that could be elaborated. So now let's move to the next question. The next question is, what do you understand by center of origin? Discuss the law of homologous series of variation. So we all know that every crop has been originated from a place, and that place refers to the center of origin of that crops. Okay, where it has evolved and diversified. There are various center of origin. For example, For rice, it is Southeast Asia. For some fruits, it is Hindustan. So we all know that Vevilos has discussed the center of origin into different. He has divided the center of origin in the world into different parts, into different units. Its importance in crop improvement have been mentioned. Now, what is law of homologous range of variation? So it states that species or genera closely related to one another exhibit similar pattern of genetic variation. So this is what the law of homologous range is. So you can simply pause and read it. It was given by Vavilov. The next one is law of parallel mutations. The law suggests that the mutation seen in one species will often be mirrored in another species. So its use in breeding have been mentioned. So you can simply pause and read it. I am a bit faster because we have to discuss a lot of questions, and that is why we will be just seeing the important points. And in 1 to 2 days, when the tests are over, I will put all these PDFs in the Telegram group. You can join the group and take the help from these PDFs. Okay. So wait a second. Sorry for the disturbance. Actually, I am suffering from a bit of fever, so that is why. So now let's move to the next question. The next question is, describe the procedure for pure line selection with achievements made in agriculture. So what are the procedure of pure line selection? So obviously we will select the superior plants, then we will self those superior plants, which is also known as selfing. Then we will grow the progenies. You can simply pause and read it if you want. Examples have been also mentioned. Then we will grow the progenies. Then we will do the evaluation of pure lines. Then we will release those pure lines. Now what are its importance in agriculture? It has developed various resistant varieties, various improved varieties, for example improved wheat varieties, and the example of the varieties have been mentioned. So that is very good. Disease resistant varieties such as Pusa Basmati 1121, high yielding varieties such as Pusa 44, quality improvement in sugar cane by CO 86032. It will give high yield, high sugar content. So very well written answer. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, explain the functions of oxygen in plant and mechanism of their action. So auxins are a class of plant hormones that affect plant growth and development. They are primarily produced in the shoot tips because it is the growing part. So they are produced there only so that it can grow faster. What are its function? Its function is cell elongation, apical dominance. Auxins encourage root initiation and development. Auxins are essential for fruit set and development to prevent premature fruit drop. Auxins also regulate gravitropism. So these are some of the good points. Auxins are also used in plant tissue culture. So well written points. Now we will see what are the mechanism of auxins. So auxins perception is done by T1R1 receptors in plant cells. So well written points have been mentioned about mechanism. You can simply pause and read it. When they bind the receptors, the signal is transduced to nucleus where it affects gene expression. And again the same functions have been elaborated. You can simply pause and read it. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, narrate the role of post-harvest technology in minimizing losses in fruits and vegetables. So we all know what post-harvest technology is. That technologies which we take after harvesting so that we can get the fruits to market to the consumers. So what are its role? Through cold storage we can keep the fruits or flowers into lower temperatures so that its shelf life is increased. We can control atmospheric storage. We can do post harvest treatments such as waxing, fungicides, use of fungicides. Hydro cooling can be done, pre cooling can be done. Now, what are the role of post-harvest technology in vegetables? Similar points only: cold chain and storage, modified atmospheric packaging, post-harvest treatment. Various treatments can be done. Curing can be done. So these are some of the common points. You can simply pause and read it, and you can see the better structure. Although all the points have been mentioned, but the better structure should be that increase shelf life, and then examples would be given of how in shelf life could be increased, reduced wastage. So these could be a use of better structure, and I have mentioned that. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, what are the challenges in fruit and vegetable markets in India? Suggest suitable remedial measures. So what are the challenges we will see first? First of all, we always see that there are fragmented supply chains, there is inadequate cold storage, there is lack of market access is there, Regulatory issues are there, limited processing is there, remedial measures have been also mentioned, that is developing of integrated supply chains. We can expand the cold storage infrastructure, we can enhance market access, we can do price stabilization measures, we can reform the APMC laws. So well written points, you can simply pause and read. Let's move to the next question now. The next question is, discuss the plant quarantine measures with suitable examples in Indian context. So we all know what plant quarantine measures are, and you can read the question. Okay, discuss the plant quarantine measures with suitable examples in Indian context. So here the student is written challenges of implementation, but it is not directly mentioned in the question, so it could be kept brief or it could be neglected also, because it is only a 10 marker question. If it will be 20 marker question, there is scope for writing some other things. So what are key plant quarantine measures? And we are all knowing what quarantine is. We have seen quarantine of human beings in COVID-19, but generally while trade-offs, when we are exporting and importing different plants, we do quarantine measures so that new kind of diseases, new kind of pest, new kind of other things, pollens, weed pollens do not get established in our country. So we can do inspection and certification, pre-post harvest pest risks could be done, post-entry quarantine could be done. And you can see I have mentioned here, whenever you are writing some kind of examples, try to write the examples in Indian context, which could be more important. Okay, many times we write examples in foreign context, which is good, it is good only, but when we write examples in Indian context, it enhances the answer. Okay, so please try to follow it. Fumigation can be done, the properly answer has been written, you can simply pause and read it. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, discuss the national plan for supply and distribution of food grains. So what are that national plans, key component of national plan, what is it? We have to procure food grains at MSP, buffer stock maintenance should be done properly, public distribution supplies should be maintained properly, decentralized procurement scheme should to be implemented properly, targeted public distribution system, that is TPDS, open market sales scheme. To well written points, you can simply pause and read it. Challenges have been also mentioned and well concluded. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, describe the procedures involved in high-tech nursery production. So we will see what are the procedures involved in high-tech nursery production. The procedures are selection of high-quality seeds, soil-less media preparations, use of trays for seedling growth, controlled environment should be there, automated irrigation should be there. And when you can see an example, the student had mentioned the examples like that. In Andhra Pradesh, vegetable seedling are grown in poly houses. It's not only in Andhra Pradesh, in various states we can grow it. So instead of writing a single state, we can use state when we are writing some specific points. But use of poly houses is a broader point. So instead of writing states, you can simply write use of poly houses. I mean campus related to use of poly houses, because it looks some amount of vagueness. Okay, because writing Andhra Pradesh and poly houses, it is a broader point, so you can use, you can keep this in mind. I have mentioned also here disease and pest management, harvesting, hardening of seedlings. These are important points which are mentioned. You can simply pause and read it. There could be improvement in examples also. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, what is plant physiological stress? Discuss the morphology and physiological changes taking place in plant during stress. So we all know what stress is. That is when there are change in weather patterns which the plant is not adapted to, then it goes into stress. For example, if there is drought or if there is flood which the plant is not adapted to, the plant will go into drought stress. Factors have been mentioned, that could be drought, salinity, biotic factors, extreme temperatures. Now what are the morphological changes? We can see curling and wilting of leaf. We can see reduced leaf structures. We can see increased root to root ratio. So these are some of the good points. You can simply pause and read it. There we can see stomata closure, leaf senescence and abscission. Physiochemical changes have been also mentioned. These are the morphological changes. Now the physiological changes have been mentioned. These are accumulation of osmolytes, increased antioxidant enzymes can be seen, production of stress hormone which is abscisic acid, alteration of photosynthetic pigments, increased production of secondary metaboloids, which could be flavonoids, phenolics, alkaloids. So well written answer and well concluded. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, discuss the relation between food production to national dietary patterns. What is the relationship that has been discussed? So generally their dependence is on staple food regions with more diversified food have been mentioned, in which we can diversify the food with fruits, vegetables, animal proteins. Diversification lack towards high nutritional crops. Impact of green revolution have been mentioned. So well written points, you can simply pause and read it. Urbanization have been mentioned. India, how India achieved food security have been mentioned. Impact of agricultural policies have been mentioned. So well written points. We are world's largest millet producers, dairy producers, livestock producers. So that has been well mentioned. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, describe the systematic position, nature of damage and management of chili thrips and citrus greening. So first of all, systematic position of the this Ceratophrys gracilis have been mentioned. Its kingdom, phylum, everything has been mentioned. You can simply pause and read it. Now its nature of damage have been mentioned. It generally feeds on different parts of the plant. Fruit damage can be seen. Virus transmission can be seen. Management, we will use cultural practices. We can use chemical things such as insecticidal sops and oils. We can do biological control. So 11 points. Next one is the citrus greening. Here also systematic position of the bacteria have been mentioned. Okay, you can simply pause and read it. Nature of damage, again symptoms, leaf symptoms, fruit deformation, these are some of the common nature of damage. Tree decline, and again managements have been mentioned, so you can simply pause and read it. We can do vector control, disease resistance varieties, good agriculture practices, chemical control, all the things can be done. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, what do you mean by hunger and hidden hunger? So simply hunger is that we are not getting food. Hidden hunger is that we are getting food but we are not getting enough amount of nutritional food. So that is the simple point. Okay. And simple difference between hunger and hidden hunger. So we can see what hidden hunger is: deficiency of nutrition, that is essential vitamins could be deficient, minerals could be deficient. So we are, although not we combating hunger, we are eating proper amount of food, but the nutrition which we wanted is not getting to us. How can we combat hidden hunger or combat hunger? By improving agricultural productivity, nutritional education can be done, food fortifications can be done, social safety can be done, implemented, local foods which are good in quality can be implemented, for example millets. So well written points, you can simply pause and read it. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, explain the methods to prolong vase life of cut flowers. So how can we prolong the vase life of cut flowers? We can do proper harvesting techniques. We can do immediate hydration, that is keeping the fruit hydrated so that it doesn't wilt. Use of flower preservatives can be used. Yes, there are homemade solution, commercial preservatives. There are different hormones which can be used as preservatives. Water quality and temperature should be maintained. Trimming stress feed needs to be properly maintained by using some methods such as cutting angles, proper cutting angles, regular trimming. Examples have been mentioned. We could eliminate foliage below water line. Environmental and light conditions needs to be maintained. So, well written points, you can simply pause and read it. So answers are very well written, and that is all for the text 10. Although there are 8 questions, but as the student has option, the student has written 5 questions, and which we see in the UPSC optional examinations also. So that is all for today. I hope you like the answers. So that is all for today. If you like it, please press the like button. Please do share and please do subscribe and keep practicing. That will be very helpful to you. And please do subscribe because it takes a lot of hard work to make such videos for you on regular basis. And if you like, share, subscribe, it motivates us to make more such videos for you regularly. So that is all for today. Have a nice day. Thank you.